Hello, friends. Grover's behind the camera, so if I act strange, it's because of him. Anywho, welcome back to Doña's Plants with Doña. I'm Doña. Today I'm going to be talking about my Monstera plants. I'm going to start off with the little one because the other one is so large. So there's a couple different varieties of Monstera, and they're from, I believe they're part of the philodendron family. Excuse me, but they all vine. So this is a Monstera adansoni, I believe it's called. Also called the Swiss cheese plant. Mine's been kind of unhappy lately. I'm not really sure why. She probably needs some fertilizer or something, but she hasn't really gotten too much bigger. When I got her, she was pretty small, so she's grown quite a bit. But I care for my Monsteras the same way. This is my little one. She doesn't have a name. These are my propagating Monsteras, as well as my little peace lily Gary, because he's on the struggle bus. And the main attraction. This is Mama. She's the biggest plant I own, and she is a Monstera deliciosa. Osa, something like that. All right. So you can tell she's a Monstera deliciosa by the fenestration, aka holes in her leaves. That's how you know what variety of Monstera she is. Let's see. So we'll begin with propagation because it'd be easier. And then I'll move into the other aspects of caring for this plant. So Monsteras are very, very, very easy to propagate. They all have, because they vine, like pothos plants, they're just a lot bigger and thicker and larger. Similar to pothos, all you have to do is cut them right below a node. I'm trying to find one that's visible. Here we go. And you can propagate from there. Okay, give me a hot second. I'm gonna try and y'all see this one? Ugh. Right here, you see this aerial root right here? This aerial root, can you see it? Can we see it, Grover?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. This aerial root starts off as just a node where it's just a little nipple looking thing. So if I cut the plant right here and put this whole section in water, this will become roots. And I will show you that using my propagation. So this is the way that I propagate my Monsteras. This is a bubbler that you can get from Walmart. I think this and the little stone cost me like $9 that you normally would put in a fish tank to bring air into your fish tank. So, and these have probably been in water for like 2 or 3 weeks. So you see there's my node and there are the beautiful roots growing out of it. You see how this is starting to web a little bit? That means another piece of foliage is going to grow out of that, and that's what I want to wait for. Just for me personally, that's what I want to wait for before I put this in soil. So that's one piece. My little Gary. Oh, Gary, my peace lily. He's already getting stronger roots. He's only been in there for like a couple days, maybe 2 days. And then this is my other piece. Let me just take Gary out. Chill out, Gary, chill out. This is the other piece, which is a lot larger. And you can see that aerial root and how it has become just a lot more roots. Again, we have some webbing here going on, and another piece of foliage is going to grow out of that. So I leave these plants right in front of my plant wall. This root's crazy. And my hope is that leaving them there near where I will put them once they're ready to be potted will give them a better chance of not going into shock. I also recently saw this little video on Facebook that said Epsom salt, the magnesium I believe it is, helps prevent plants from going into transplant shock. If you hear squeaking, that's my dog DuPont. He has separation anxiety, aka he's got ADHD. Anyways, so that's propagation for the Monstera plant. When it comes to light, bright indirect sunlight, just like pretty much all of my plants. Mama has been in the same spot on my plant wall pretty much since I got her, but I had to move her because she's gotten so big. Typically Monsteras they'll just continue to grow. They're very, very hardy. They just grow. They don't really need much at all. I don't do anything for Mama other than water her. You can see these new leaves. Oh my god! That are growing. Something else that I learned, which is totally not related to light, but when you see these new leaves growing, do your best not to touch them because there are oils that we have on our hands that the new leaves don't like, which makes sense, just like babies. And we do have a lot of foreign stuff on our hands that our plants don't really need to absorb through such a delicate section like a brand new leaf. But lighting, bright indirect sunlight is what's great for all 3 of my Monsteras, including this little baby. When it comes to water, I only water them when they're dry. Mama will wilt a little bit, but she's so large it's kind of tough to tell. When it comes to this little guy, I usually just stick my finger all the way in the soil as far as it'll go, and if it comes out dusty, then I know that it needs water. Obviously, my ones that are propagating here in water don't need water, but I do change the water completely in there maybe once every week or so. I'll typically add more water as it begins to evaporate, and I'll change the water out completely about once every week. Fertilizer, as I always mention, I haven't fertilized my plants, but I will be starting soon, so I'll let you know exactly what I use. It's definitely going to be something that I can put in water and dilute it that way and just fertilize my plants or feed them when I water them. Grover did suggest that I talk about soil for my plants. Most plants are gonna like soil that is well draining. And honestly, just typical potting soil is totally fine. There are certain plants that like potting mix that's a little bit lighter and a little airier, and you can always add like some sphagnum moss just to make the soil lighter and not as heavy, so the water can get through it a lot quicker. And the great thing about sphagnum moss is it also holds a little bit of water, so if the roots are in the sphagnum moss, it can absorb the water from the sphagnum moss. When it comes to Monsteras, they are not picky about soil at all. You probably could put them in cacti soil and they wouldn't care. And cacti soil usually just has more perlite and more amendments like that to make it really, really quickly draining. If you have a Monstera in soil like that, you probably just have to water it more often. So you probably wouldn't want to, add regular potting mix or just use regular potting mix, and she will be totally happy. Talked about propagation, talked about light, talked about soil, talked about fertilizer. I think that's it. But Mama is one of my favorite plants, not just because she's so large, but because she's so easy to care for. In this room that I'm in right now, which is just steps over from where I typically film my videos, because she's so large, I figured I should sit. If I were to just leave her in this spot and just leave this sliding glass door open, she would continue to just grow and branch and grow and branch, and the more she grows, the larger her leaves will get until they become, this one's pretty big already. They just continue to get larger and larger. This one's pretty big. It's a little bit larger than the size of my hand. So as she grows new leaves, as long as she's getting adequate sunlight and is watered enough, she's just gonna keep growing. All right, friends. Once again, this is a Monstera deliciosa. Super, super easy to care for, fairly common houseplant. You may find that you'll get a young Monstera whose leaves are not fenestrated. They are just solid like this, and that's okay. You want to look at the shape of the leaves and the, I don't know what it's called, but these little like leaf veins to know whether or not it is a Monstera, as well as the way that the foliage looks and the way that it grows. There's not many plants that could be mistaken as Monstera. This is like sticky. But many people purchase them when they're young and they don't have fenestrations yet, and they freak out saying, did I get a Monstera? Did I get, a different kind of plant? This leaf is new and it's not fenestrated. I can see that it's growing out of somewhere where I clipped one of these, but this is a newer leaf and it's not fenestrated. So once this area keeps growing, then it'll start producing fenestrated leaves. These cuttings that I cut will probably produce fenestrated leaves because the cuttings themselves have leaves that are fenestrated. So don't freak out. Just a quick tidbit: if you purchase a Monstera and you know, it only has one slit or it doesn't have any slits at all, if it's like this, it only has one, it's still a Monstera. So really great houseplant, super easy to care for. They really don't care about humidity very much. I haven't done anything extra for my plants as far as humidity goes. I started spraying them, but they don't care. They're fine. So that's all about the Monstera. Thanks for joining me today on this fine Wednesday. Please do all the YouTube stuff. Like this video, drop me some comments below. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything that you'd like to see as far as a specific plant, let me know. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and press that little dangly bell thing so that you can get notified every time I post a new video. But I'll be posting videos every Wednesday and Sunday here on the YouTube. All right, friends, it's been a pleasure. Have a beautiful day. Doña out.